Hi, I'm Damien Roy and welcome on my guitar lesson YouTube channel. Today we're going to work on another theory lesson, theory applied on the instrument, with the intervals. Intervals, and we'll also talk about the famous tritone, the Diabolicus in Musica. Let's start. So what are intervals? Intervals are two notes that you play at the same time. So one is lower in the sound than the other who is higher. So let's start, for example, here easily on the guitar to hear the sound, because it's nice to read it on paper or watch the video, but it's even more important to play it on your own instrument. First interval, we have the unison. So the distance between the two notes is 0. There's normally a perfect unison, if it's possible. There's no steps at all. So let's play it here. So I'm playing two C's. So on a 12-string guitar, you are playing unisons because you have 12 strings, two identical strings playing at the same time. It's going to give a more balanced, more stronger sound for what you're doing. Let's move on to the second interval here. So we're following, of course, the C major scale for that. The second interval, we will be working on a major second. So I'm playing the note C and D. So here we have a major second with one step of difference between the two notes. So that's how we measure in music there with half steps, whole steps, and you're going to have a couple steps between each intervals there. So one step of difference. So as you hear, the sound is not super nice, but music is not all classical romantic. Not everything is beautiful and nice. It's just sounds that you have with the interactions of two notes. Now, let's go on major third. So I'm playing a note C and E. You will have a difference of 2 steps. Perfect fourth, I'm playing C and F. 2.5 steps. Perfect fifth, so C and G. 3.5 steps. So the fifths are used, for example, for playing power chords and many other things. Major 6. So I'm going to be playing C and A. So 4.5 steps. Major 7. So C and B. So we're going to have so the interval of 5.5 steps here. And the octave here, C and C. So we have 6 steps. So the important thing is to practice your ear also at the same time. C, D, C, E, C, F, C, G, C, A, C, B, C, C. So the octave here. So you memorize the sound playing C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And always start with the C. Try to guess by singing a note what will be the next note here. So with the D. And it's a good ear training here. I don't have the perfect pitch. I have a good relative ear, and that's good enough for doing all the music I want. Let's move on to other types of intervals. So watch out, these ones there are going to be a little bit more scary if you're not used to those types of intervals. So first here we're going on a minor second. So I'm going to play here a C and a D flat. Awful. Awful or interesting. So now you can hear all the music for movies, for TV shows that you use, for example, for scary events. There's a danger somewhere, or something very suspenseful. it's very tense. So here we have the minor second, we have 0.5 steps of difference. The closer the interval is between the two notes, the more tense it's going to be. There's going to be more friction, we call it. Now let's move on a minor third. So here I'm playing C and E flat, 1.5 steps. Now on flat 4 diminished fourth, I'm playing C and I'm playing F flat, which is the same note than E. But for the theory, you're going to write down C, F flat, because it wouldn't be a fourth. 2 steps. Now, let's move on to diminish here. So fifth, right here, flat 5, we're going to have, so that's the tritone, we'll talk about it later. We're going to have 3 steps. After we have the minor 6, so I'm going to be playing C and A flat. Very tense. We have 4 steps. Now the 7th interval, or flat 7, don't mix up with a major 7. It's very different. After we have here C and B flat. And we have here 5 steps. Now we have the diminished octave here, which could be the same than the major 7, but it's written C and C flat. It's possible to write it like that. And we have 5.5 steps. And now we have the augmented octave here. Very tense. So 6.5 steps, I'm playing a C and C sharp. So in a lot of movies you're going to hear that means don't go in that room. So practice all those intervals. Intervals are useful for the next theory lesson we will see in the next video on chord constructions. Let's continue now with what we call the tritone. So a tritone is a very, very special interval, and there's a musical history behind all the making of or our Occidental music. So if I play F, so F, G, A, B, so, and I play the interval here, F, B, we have what we call naturally a natural interval called the tritone. The tritone has 3 steps. So the Benedictine monks, who did a lot for the developing of the music, the Italian Benedictine monks, they also invented the sharp and other things, knew that in the major scale that they used to call ut, U and T, there was presence of the interval of the tritone. And because of the nature of the tension, dissonance of the sound here, that was a forbidden interval. So for like more than a century, it was totally forbidden by the Inquisition and by higher church members, because they would decide of what you were allowed to do. Unfortunately, our music only stayed in the key of ut, mainly with the modes. We'll talk about the modes later. So that interval was totally forbidden to play. So here we have what we call the sharp 4, very tense. And because there's 3 steps naturally between F and B. The second interval, we have flat 5. It's also a tritone, so C. So I'm playing B, C, D, E, F. So if I play the 2 notes at the same time, we have the same interval. It's a tritone, 3 steps. We call it flat 5 or diminished 5. And if you see written on the paper, there's the half step, whole, half step. And for the Benedictine monks, it was the symbol of the devil. So the tritone, they used to call it the diabolicus in musica in Latin, which means the devil in the music. So of course, do not sing it, do not play it. The Inquisition burned someone like Galileo just for saying and proving that Earth was round and not flat. These intervals for a long time were forbidden, and they knew the existence of sharps and flats that will be in another lesson, but they could not use it because they were scared to be burned or punished. So, one rule you have to know is that all fourth and fifth are perfect. They call it perfect. It's a term that we gave for the fourth interval and the fifth interval, except that F, B, and BF. So, in the next lesson, when we're going to learn how to build chords, remember that rule. All fourth and fifth are perfect, excepted F, B, and BF. I hope you enjoyed this theory lesson. Remember this rock and roll symbol that came from the Benedictine monks there, who wrote down a lot of music and created a lot of rules in music there. Please subscribe to my guitar lesson YouTube channel. I also have a Patreon if you want to have all the files in PDF, nice and neat. Also with the guitar profiles if you want to listen to it and play along with the tab. And please like my video.